Hi, I'm Roger Bonds at physiciancareeradvisor.com. Thank you for taking time to learn more about how you can take the next step in your medical career. This afternoon I was speaking with a client physician about one of the 3 contracts she's considering for her next career move. As a female subspecialist, she can go almost anywhere in the nation she likes, but she truly wants to go to one particular city, which is the contract we discussed today. I told her I was making this YouTube video and she gave me permission to talk about her case and her dilemma. So, her dilemma is about tail insurance. Tail insurance is the additional coverage that has to be purchased if you or your employer bought the cheaper claims-made insurance instead of the comprehensive occurrence-based insurance. So claims-made is like your car insurance. It's only in effect as long as you're paying the monthly premium. That is, tail coverage is needed to cover you once you leave for those patients who might come back and see you later. The cost for tail coverage will be 50 to 100, 150, even 200% of your annual premium. But please know, occasionally it may not be that bad. An example, if you leave the practice but stay in-state and with the same insurance company, you may not have to pay for tail at all. So be sure to ask. Or if you keep the job for so many years, that insurance company may automatically cover you for the tail at no charge. That also may be true if you are with them for so many years and you then retire completely from clinical medicine. But what if that's not a realistic option for you and you know there's a significant possibility that you'll someday leave this practice? After all, our research at physiciancareeradvisor.com shows physicians have 3 jobs in their career, and their first job only lasts about 2.5 years on average. So let's go back to the question, if they only have the cheap coverage, who pays for that tail insurance? Many of us in the field strongly believe it is unethical for an employer to require a former employee to pay for tail coverage. Let me repeat that. Many believe it is unethical for a former employee to be forced to pay for tail. That's because malpractice coverage is a cost of doing business for the practice or the hospital. All they're doing is trying to spread out their malpractice costs onto the backs of others. As a matter of fact, over 95% of larger physician employers today accept this when never ask an employee to pay for tail. And if a practice dares to tell you that you shouldn't worry about it because the next practice you work for will pay the tail for you, now does that even sound remotely ethical? Another practice will pay for their coverage? Of course not, and it rarely happens that way. So how do you fight back? First, realize they may just need to be educated on the subject. They may not even know it's unethical and they're only responding to what the malpractice salesperson told them in the first place, to buy from his company because he sells a cheaper insurance. So politely but firmly educate them. Tell them that it's their cost, not yours. Plenty of them will drop it because they didn't know, or they didn't want to admit it's unethical, or as they already know, their competition doesn't require employees to pay for tail. Now, if they still refuse, politely tell them, just in case you don't stay there for the rest of your career, that you want to speak to the malpractice carrier to find out the cost of this tail coverage. That price will have several variables, including, is the practice self-insured or is it with an outside carrier? Self-insurance costs a lot less. Of course, the price varies with the specialty, how long you've been in practice at the time that you need the tail, in which state are you, or have you or the practice or physicians in that specialty in that geographical area had prior malpractice problems. This is all computed by their actuarials who decide how much risk they think they have and can still make a profit, oftentimes extreme profits. By the way, I've taught 14 CME malpractice seminars this year for physicians around the country, and physicians are paying malpractice rates that are way too high, but that's another topic. Now, back to contracts. This week I've reviewed 9 physician contracts so far, and 2 are in the same specialty where they wanted the new physician to pay for tail. So we got the prices. One was $18,000 and the other was $84,000. By the way, your specialty may be more than double that, like the $175,000 estimate I originally had for an OB subspecialist in upstate New York. She was flexible, so she chose to practice in another state just because of the tail coverage. Now, if they still want you to pay the tail, you can certainly ask them to pay half. After all, the tail covers the practice as much as it covers you. Otherwise, they wouldn't care if you had tail or not. Or you can ask them to pay 1/3 of the tail if you stay for 1 year, 2/3 if you stay 2 years, 3/3 if you stay 3 years. I've actually written contracts for employers who I've worked with who were adamant about the employee paying tail, since a senior physician had to do so when he joined the practice years ago. So that's the way it is. I still don't like it, but it is a compromise in the right direction. As with all of these YouTube videos, there's a great deal more on the subject, but that covers a lot of ground. Call me if I can review your contract. If you want to know more, please, below, click like for this video and click subscribe as well for our future videos. Go to physiciancareeradvisor.com and get my free newsletter. Find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and invite me to speak at your next national conference or grand rounds. My email is rbonds@physiciancareeradvisor.com, or call my office at 770-649-7150. You have a tremendous future ahead of you. I'll see you next time.